Okay, welcome in everybody to the Thursday night Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory show. But really, what this is the Wednesday night redo, in the sense that Wednesday night we had some trouble. And right there, I see Ratfink 666 for the win. So, Ratfink, first let me tell you, congratulations on the big win in the Super Bowl. I can't be lying if I didn't say it wasn't a little bit of a surprise, but Tom Brady does Tom Brady things. Won his first Super Bowl when I was a freshman in high school, and 20 years later, he's still doing Super Bowl things. So shame on me underestimating the GOAT. But it's time to settle up our bet. So for the rest of you in the chat, Ratfink went ahead and let me know his address. So I'm going to be whipping him up a couple of half pounds of beans. And I will go ahead and get started with those tonight. I think I'm going to probably send you an Ethiopian out of this bag. It's really good. I've tuned it in. It's a light roast Ethiopian. It drinks really well. It's good for pour-overs. If you do percolators, AeroPress. It's a really good light morning coffee. And then I will probably do you a half pound of this Costa Rican as well. So I'll send those out to you. We work with a spice shop. My father-in-law, he's really big into barbecue, and we're going to get you some spices from down here in Kansas City and send them over to you in Tampa. So I should be getting that out to you hopefully tomorrow or maybe Saturday. It's pretty cold outside, so we'll see when I get moving around. If you have any preference of what you like in your roast, go ahead and let me know in the chat. If you like things a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, but I will just go ahead and do whatever you want. Very cool. I want to compensate you. Please send me your stuff from here as well. All right, yeah, I mean, I'll send it. No compensation needed, but I'll send you mine so we can get into contact and just kind of create a fun little back and forth there. Okay, so welcome in everybody. As I said, my mic went terrible. Although I've been streaming now for almost 2 months, we still have some technical difficulties time and again. But hopefully the mic is sounding good. You got the music playing in the background. Everything's looking good. And I'll go ahead and get this roast starting because I'll do a back-to-back roast tonight to make sure I can get everything roasted up. So, as always, feel free to drop any questions or comments in the chat, and we'll get going. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm just going to warm up the roaster. This is a B-More 2000. It's a... So is Robot Brian happening right now, or has Robot Brian been fixed? Sing the new jingle. Drop it in the chat, Awebb, and I might sing that jingle. Alright, so Awebb, I'll also be roasting you up some coffee. I think I'll do yours tomorrow. So we got Ratfink here in the chat. I'm going to be kind of doing my, settling up my bet roast tonight. And then I'll do the Awebb roast tomorrow and get those both out to you as soon as possible. Awebb, go ahead and drop the alleged jingle in the chat, and maybe we'll sing it. So it's good to see you back. I know the original plan wasn't to roast, but last night was such a disaster. Figured I'd get back down here and see if I can't get the mic working well. Yeah, I'm not singing that. So you can guys go ahead and sing it. It's to the tune of Eyesight. All right, stop. Stop roast some beans in. Listen, iced coffee's back with a brand new edition. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Too much caffeine. I'm not sleeping tonight. Iced coffee. Wait, it'll never stop. I don't know. Too much coffee. Now I've got to go. Iced coffee. Well, there you go. Now it's on the internet. So Ratfink 666, he loves it. So maybe you're onto something, Awebb. Against my better judgment, apparently it's It's sweeping the nation. It's a craze. Everyone can get behind. Oh, Jill McDonough in the chat. Jill is definitely a benefactor of me screwing up the show last night. So, Jill, I never got to thank you for dropping off that coffee in Austin. So, thank you very much. I know Lisa and Vegetable Beard really appreciated it, so is much obliged. Okay, we're just bringing it up to about 200 degrees here. As I was saying, this is a Bmore 2000. It's a standard, very, very low-end home coffee roaster. However, if you make a couple of tweaks to it, change the way that you cool the coffee, change a couple of things. You see I've got it propped up. It actually makes really, really good coffee. It can get tuned in pretty nicely. It works kind of like a rotisserie. It only does half pounds. Well, it could do a full pound, but again, I try to manipulate it as much as possible to get the best tasting coffee out of this little machine. It's looking like March 1st, I'm going to be getting my new roaster. It's called a Bullet. It's a little bit more like a shop roaster in the sense that it's got some better airflow. It works more like a drum roaster, but still a small home roaster that uses electronic heating. Is good for my basement. I don't have to pipe any sort of gas or anything like that. So should be getting that around March 1st, and that should kick the old Fat Beans Coffee Lab into the next gear. We can start doing not only a pound, but 2 pounds and back-to-back roasters. In the winter, stay nice and toasty. Come on down for Fat Beans Roasty. This is the jingle from 2 weeks ago. What's the price range on a roaster like this? This one I got for $400 during the pandemic. I've done about 102 roasts on it so far. Haven't had a single problem. So if you are interested in doing any sort of home roasting, I would recommend this. It's got a lot of home roasters use it. It's got a lot of little tweaks on it. I use just manual mode, but it's got some roast profiles in it. So for $400, you can make, arguably, and some people in the chat can probably attest to this, what I view as some of the best coffee I've ever had. Now, part of that is because I get my beans from Sweet Maria's out of Oakland, California. They do a really good job of sourcing good beans, like the top 1% in the world, and they have a really nice variety, and because the freshness can't be beat. Now, I don't recommend you drink coffee until about 3 days after it's roasted because of a process called degassing. And again, I don't highly recommend that, but that third day, the coffee is just sublime. And yes, this is Judy. So, old Jutes, we've been through a lot together, going past 100 roasts. When I first bought her and did my first roast, I was like, it's going to take me years to do 100 roasts. Fell in love with roasting. Really fell in love with all the different varieties of coffee and have gotten through my first 100 roasts in about 6 months. And really, I did the last 50 roasts in the last month since I've been on Twitch. So, old Jutes has served me well. Another issue I have with the Bmore is that you can't really get a ton of data as far as heats, simply because it's primitive with the thermocouples and everything. So that does limit it. But again, I've done so many roasts on it, I kind of can start to predict simply by how hot it's getting in the chamber about where it's going. How do I drink my coffee straight up? I tend to drink my coffee black, so straight. If I'm drinking an afternoon coffee, I might slip a little bit of heavy whipping cream. But what's kind of driven me to really push go further and further looking for good coffee is that I do drink it black, which the American Heart Association just dropped a little bit in and said that drinking black caffeinated coffee not only is good for your heart, but compared to people who don't drink black coffee caffeinated, they tend to have a less chance of having a heart attack. So not only now, if I can get something that's good for me to taste great, that's the dream. Now, if I could just get ice cream to kind of fall in that same category, big guy be rolling. So there you go, Awebb. There's that beautiful bean footage. And if you're watching the bean footage, you can see it's green. We're going to try to take that to a nice light brown, and then we'll pull it off the heat and begin cooling it. We got the bean footage there for you. It's so good. So I've been drinking the coffee. We brewed black with my roommate. We both drink with cream and sugar. It's so good. Yeah. So really, if you can get a good quality of coffee, black coffee is very attainable. Also, the way you brew it. I tend to like drink my black coffee either through an AeroPress, pour over coffee method. I'll even hit it with a percolator. Percolator coffee is kind of an Americana thing, but I like that too. Um, so this one, this Ethiopian, I'd highly recommend if you don't drink black coffee, try it black first. It's got some really good fruity notes in it that really will get drowned out by the cream. So it's more of an acid reliant coffee, but it's stellar. I've gotten some really good feedback on it. So we're about 5 minutes into the roast. Definitely the drying process is taking place. It smells a little bit like cut grass, but it is moving to different level. Now, when you say Colombian coffee, do you mean Colombian grown coffee, or is it a particular type of brewing? So I'm guessing it's Colombian coffee. I have not. My palate in the surprise roast. Welcome in, vegetable beard. But my palate has tended to be steering more towards the Ethiopians, just because that's where I got started. I was going to coffee shops and I was like, what's the best black coffee? And they were hitting with Ethiopian. But I've slowly been expanding my palate, and definitely the Caribbean coffees have piqued my interest. So, if you hook me up with some of that, I will give it a full review down here. We also, we also have a kind of a kitchen down here in our basement where I do what are called the Saturday shows. Those are where I go through different brewing methods. Tonight, as Awebb has already pointed out, we will be doing a cold brew coffee. So I'll be going through different types of cold brew and seeing if I can get myself to like it. I honestly have never drank cold brew before. So I'm going to be going through some different cold brew methods to see if I can find something I like. And it's supposed to be negative 15 degrees here in Kansas City. So Awebb, with her pun ways, thought that would be funny. So we'll be doing some cold brew on Saturday night, and if you send some of that up here, I definitely will give it a full review and tell you what I think. Vegetable beard, best kind of night is surprise roast night. Yeah, so couldn't let yesterday just go unchecked. So I was thinking about it all day, and although there was some gold with me with the robot voice and getting really, really upset at Awebb, I had to delete it, and so I figured I'd come down here, do a little bit of a redeemer roast tonight. Cuban coffee, I'm excited. Okay, so if you're looking at the bean cam, you can tell that the beans have taken on a very distinct brown flavor. That just by these beans, it should be about 2 more minutes until we get to first crack. Yeah, Awebb, sorry. It had to go. I watched it back, and I know we were laughing, but I could just tell the pure frustration in my eyes. I was like, no, I gotta get rid of that. So we're nice brown. The scent has definitely changed. I'll go ahead and kick the exhaust on here because we are roasting coffee. It does get a little bit smoky down here. How hot does that roaster get? So the inside of the chamber, that is what this reading, I keep checking. It can get up to about, it has a fail-safe in it that stops it at about 330 degrees. It has two heating elements in the back, and those get much hotter than 330 degrees. In fact, the heat that the beans will initially take by the time they start to crack is about 400 degrees. So the roast chamber gets about 330 degrees, but the beans themselves we're trying to bring up to about 400. And if you hear those early popping, that is actually the beans starting to crack. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the power, I'm going to slow the drum down, and then I'm going to let this kind of just go through, do a full crack, kind of like popcorn. And once it stops cracking, that's usually the first sign of what's called light roast. We'll cut it out. I will actually pull these beans out of this machine and I will cool them externally. That is one thing I have found with this machine. It really saves some of the good acid flavors in the coffee if I cool it externally. So the coffee roasting is pretty consistent when the beans start to crack. I know sometimes when I pop popcorn, it takes random different amounts of time for no reason, but your beans tend to be pretty consistent. Yeah, if the beans are fresh, just like popcorn, they will usually all start cracking within about 35 to 40 seconds of each other. And just heard the last cracks. I went ahead and dropped it into a cooling, and you'll see here in a second, I'm actually going to pull this out. Additionally, how do you know when they're done? Is it how many seconds? I generally do use time Awebb on this machine. On my new machine, I'll actually have a temperature. I can read the temperature, and once the temperature flatlines, that's when you know you're at certain points. But again, I've done this roast and this roaster so much, it's kind of like your popcorn in the microwave. Once you've done it 1,000 times, you start to get the smell, you start to hear things, and it just becomes pretty apparent. It's not the most sophisticated machine, but you know, you gotta remember, they started roasting coffee in ceramic jars on fire, so it can be done. Okay, so give you guys a little tasty sneak peek there. There they are, that's a nice light roast. I'm gonna go drop these in the external cooler, and then I'll bring them back for your viewing pleasure. Okay, so cooling those I put them in a colander. I have it set up to a rig on a shop vac. The vacuum doesn't actually touch the beans. What it's doing is pulling cold air over top of the beans. This will cool the beans down in about 4 minutes. This machine would take about 13 minutes, and it really just dilutes. It gives it a very dry, almost kind of barley taste. It's still coffee, it still has caffeine, and honestly, if you don't drink a ton of caffeine, you probably never notice, but I drink a ton of coffee, three real strong cups a day, so my metallic voice is back. That's because of the voice gate, so it's because the vacuum cleaner's going, so it shouldn't last for very long, but thank you for touching me up on that. And today what we're going to do is, if I got the robot voice again, I apologize. But today we're going to bring the machine, we're going to cool it down, and then we'll do the second roast, which will be a Costa Rican. And I'll give you a full rundown of what this Costa Rican will look like here in a minute. So if you are just joining us, welcome to Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory. Where we are roasting, we're making coffee, we're taking green coffee, and turning it into delicious roasted coffee. Tonight we just did a light roast Ethiopian, and I'm going to flip around and do a medium roast in a Costa Rican. What is my favorite part of the roasting process? I think that first crack, just because really most of roasting on this machine is just drying the beans out. It is kind of cool to see it go from green to, the different colors. That first crack, really starting to see it develop, and then kind of learning the different arts between a light roast, medium roast, and a dark roast, really tuning those in. That's kind of, it's kind of like seeing the finish line when you're running a race and start running towards it. So for me, it would be either the first crack or drinking it, knowing that whatever I'm making, I'm going to be drinking and enjoying for the next couple of days is pretty cool too. So another thing about this roaster is a normal roaster, once you have it hot, so a normal roaster you would heat to about 400 degrees, which is different than this. This only gets 330 inside. It is also another reason why it's very limited. But a normal roaster, I would just drop the beans in and I'd start doing the next roast. Because there are electric, is electric, and the electric panels are very close to the heating elements, you can't simply just fire another load in. It has safety switches that you have to bring it down underneath 200 degrees before you can start another roast. So that is the biggest drawback of this machine. If I could somehow get this thing tuned in where I could just be doing back to back to back, I would probably stay on this machine forever because it's easy, it's simple, it's got a low footprint, it doesn't use a lot, it's not a big energy hog. But if I ever get to the point, which is the intention, to start expanding a little bit, not a full-time roaster or anything, but sharing with friends, family, paying off bets, then I would definitely want to get to the position where I can do a little bit more drop it in back to back to back roasting, which we just can't do on this roaster yet. You got a look at what we've done here. So this light roast Ethiopian, you'll notice it's got the Ethiopian lines in it. It also still has some chaff. So if you're wondering what's that white crap in there, that's called chaff. It's just a byproduct of cracked coffee. And we'll actually take that off right now. So this feels like the making excuses for, oh, thank you. So that is what will be coming to you hopefully very soon. I want to get it out as soon as possible so that they're fresh, because Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory, we're all about science and freshness. But I want to get that to you as quickly as possible. But yeah, this is going to be some good stuff for you. So there it is without the chaff. And that's a ½ a pound Ethiopian. I think that's something you're really going to enjoy. So you'll have to let us know. The only thing I ask is that you come back, you let us know, and tell us a little bit about how it went. Actually going to be right back. The machine should be brought down. We'll drop in the Costa Rican, and we'll call it a night. Am I brewing anything special for Julie for Valentine's Day? Well, I can't tell you that here. I mean, she's an active member of the old chat commune. But I might make something nice. I mean, I kind of got to now that you put that in the chat, Awebb, so that. Bag that up. So we'll just gonna do a quick turnaround here, clean up some of the chaff. The coffee roasting process does get a little bit messy. We're gonna knock off some of the chaff here. And then we'll just preheat this back up. And now we're going to do Costa Rican. So smart to sweep it up with a vacuum. Yeah, no, right? So this Costa Rican it's really good medium. Central American coffees take heat really good. They generally, because Costa Rica although it's got a lot of peaks and valleys because of volcanoes, it's got high elevations. High elevations make for low acid coffee, which makes for really, really good balance. This one has a good smoky chocolate taste along with some sugar and caramel that make just really a good, like, mid-afternoon, just balanced chocolatey cup. So if you are a cream drinker, this is the kind of coffee I recommend putting cream in because the cream will actually blend with a lot of the natural flavors in this coffee. So although I tend to drink my coffee leaded, just nothing else in it, for all of my cream drinkers or people who like to drink it kind of like a dessert coffee, this is the coffee I go with. So I'm going to be, I'm going to hook you up with a half pound of this, and Awebb, you'll be getting a half pound as well, so that you can kind of try both of these. You should be. This should be good. I know. I can tell you were pretty dejected that all the Austintonians got it, and you got a little bit ripped off. So we decided to make these just special for you. How dark am I brewing this one? I'm going to take this one to a medium dark. If we were in a coffee shop talk, we would call it full city. Full City Plus is usually second crack. That's what moves into dark coffee. We're going to take this Full City, which just means about a minute to 2 minutes after first crack has ended. We really let it just really burn off some of the acid taste, start developing some of the bittersweet tastes. Bittersweet or bitter is a taste profile that comes on coffee as it gets more and more burnt. In fact, if you ever heard of Vienna or French roast, Really what that means is that it's burnt. It tastes like charcoal. But, you know, different stroke for different folks. And is Costa Rican coffee mostly grown on the Pacific or Atlantic side, or is it in the middle? It's actually in the middle. So in Costa Rica, and hopefully Vegetable Beer is working on our map, but as you go down the country, and you kind of hit that choke point, so yes, you have a clear distinction between the Atlantic and Pacific sides. The coffee, there's a lot of volcanic mountains in the middle, and that's primarily where you're going to see most of the coffee grown in Costa Rica. The two coasts are actually very humid, and they have a lot of more rich lowland jungles. So coffee does not like humidity a lot. It also does not like lowlands per se. So the middle of the country is one of the arguably one of the best growing places for coffee. That's why you see Costa Rican coffee tends to be a very highly sought after coffee. And it takes heat really well, which essentially implies that you can really roast it fast and still get a very good quality coffee. So your bigger roasting companies like to use Costa Rican because it's a premium brand that they can use very quick back-to-back and commercial techniques to roast it. You'll also notice in the streaming side of things, I pulled myself out of the food and drink category, and tonight I'm in the makers and crafts category. I don't know what that actually means as far as viewers, but I figured since we are, really this is a making, let's see, we go hang out with them on the maker side. So everyone that's doing their cosplays and building, I don't know what they make on the internet. So that's where we're hanging out today. Maybe if a couple of makers drop by and say hello, the chat can be nice and give them a nice fat beans welcome. Okay. Beans are where they like to grow. Sounds very tricky. Yeah, it's not only does it need to be in the equator, because coffee beans are probably one of the most fickle plants on the planet. They will not grow in anything if temperatures get below 62 degrees. Now imagine that. Most of the United States is gripped by freezing weather right now. Will not grow, will not form fruit. Also will not grow or form fruit above 80 degrees. So you have an 18-degree window that it needs to be in practically all the time. Plus, they tend to grow more slowly as you go up higher, yet they grow better in higher elevations, and they also really only like volcanic rock. So the fact that there's so many different countries growing coffee is amazing, but they are very, very fickle. So it's kind of one of, not only is it good for you, not only can it taste good, not only does it have caffeine, but then it's just in this perfect balance in the world where it'll grow. So overall, a really, really cool thing. So you're saying will not grow in Kansas City? No. It'd be dead. It'd be dead in Austin. It'd be dead in Houston. Because not only does it can't get cold, it can't get hot. So you're asking, that sounds like me. Now, the nice thing about coffee is business trips is excellent. Did you read this roast is for Awebb? Yeah, this is, well, yeah, we'll go ahead and say it's for Awebb. I'm still paying off a Super Bowl bet, EKF225, but this is the exact roast. Awebb's will actually be tomorrow night because I'm going to drop these both in the mail at the same time. So you could say this is Awebb's roast. Get out of here with that Midwest weather. That's not Midwest weather. That's Canada weather. You can't help it. We're just the kind of the middle person. Just pass it right through. EKF225. Yes, EKF225. No! Yeah, I know. It's kind of an emotional roller coaster, apparently. This is also a back-to-back roast. So this is the second roast we've done tonight. Due to feeling bad for Awebb getting left out of the roast party. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and roast up what I have left. Also, I put in a new order to Sweet Maria's, so I got a re-up coming soon. 5 pounds of Burnai. So a new African country I'm going to try out. Never done Burnai before. So we got 5 pounds of that coming. We got a Mystery 8, so I know that's the crowd favorite, where we roast up some random coffees and then I taste them and tell you what they're like. And I also have something kind of cool coming in. It's called a Sumatran 5-year. I have no idea what that means. It's aged coffee for 5 years. It could be disgusting. It could be awesome. But I spent a little extra money to get a premium bag of Sumatran 5-year. Overnight, I needed warm drinks for freezing Texas weather next week. Yeah, so I'll overnight it if you're willing to pay for it. Like, that's me sounding a little bit chintzy, but I mean, Fat Bean's got 2 kids now. Fat Bean's got 2 Rugrats to worry about now. EKF225. So jazzed for the percolator next week. Percolator. It's an electric. You'll have to give me a picture of that percolator. Now, is it just a standard, or is it something like you got from your grandma's basement? So how different is Ethiopian and Arabica beans? Well, hey Webb, funny you should ask. All coffee that you're drinking, unless it's an espresso blend and it's a very specific type, is Arabica. All coffee is Arabica. Arabica is the only coffee that tastes good. There is another type of coffee that is from the Canaphora family. I know you're like, why is he hitting us with science? There's another type of coffee that's referred to as Robusta. Robusta is not good, but it grows low, and it also can grow up to 96 degrees. You find Robusta in West Africa and in Brazil. They make tons of it, and then they use that for instant or water-soluble coffee. It's disgusting. But 40% of all coffee sold is Robusta, even though Robusta tastes like burnt rubber. So now you have to ask yourself, what am I drinking when I drink this different stuff? Percolated is from Penny's British Basement. Okay. All right. I'll allow it. I'm hit or miss on percolator, but it works. So with the Costa Rican, our target is, again, a little bit darker, so we're pouring a lot more heat on it. Since this is the second time through on the roast, it's also heating up really fast. I will address that here in a second, EFK. I want to make sure I don't overheat my machine here. So, French press is going to be very, very acidic. Have a lot of acidity in it. Because of the way that it brews, the coffee sits for 5 minutes, it extracts a ton of acid out of it. I would not do the Ethiopian in the French press if you do not like acidy coffee. You can do the Costa Rican in the French press, that'll be good. But the Ethiopian, I would say put in the percolator just to avoid some of the more negative acid taste that you'll get. It might even upset your stomach. Bring a food scale so we can properly weigh the coffee. Oh yeah. Do it all. You gotta do it right. Not sure what the ratio. Keep it safe. Go 18 grams of water for every 1 gram of coffee. But I would look up percolator to see if they have anything special on that as well. So 18, 17, 16, and 15 to 1 are 18 is more mild or weak. 15 is more strong. So anytime you're doing, trying to figure out how much coffee, in a drip coffee maker, more like 1 tablespoon per 6-ounce cup. You guys got Fat Beans Coffee Lab spitting all the knowledge today. Yeah, that's going to be weak, but I don't know how you guys drink your coffee. So I would say anywhere between 18 and 16 grams for every 1 grams of water for 1 gram of coffee. So here's some early pops here on the Costa Rican. You can see it's really taken a lot of heat. Got some good color coming. So looking good. Getting ready to initiate that first crack. So I'll quiet down. Let your ears hear the music. Cut the power. Slow the drum. Beautiful bean footage ×2. There you go. The rare double roast. Don't like to double roast on this machine, but wanted to make sure I got all of the people I promised something to. Promises fulfilled. I'll tell you, for the longer double roast, good crowd, so it's good to see you guys all out here. Hopefully everyone's having a good night, having a good week. If this is your first time in the Fat Beans Roasting Laboratory, welcome. We do everything coffee. Most on weeknights, I do. Yeah, it is. It's sparking a little bit, so we'll have to watch that. We do roasting coffee mostly for me, but I also try to give away some to friends and family from time to time. We are looking to ramp up a little bit on the roasting side. We also, on Saturdays, we do brewing shows where I go through different brewing methods or techniques. And this Saturday, I'll tell you all about it here at the end of the show. So now the cracks have stopped, and it's just developing. So you can see it's just getting incrementally darker and darker, really honing into that, what we call a medium roast. Also big news, I'm getting a microphone tomorrow. So what happened yesterday should never happen again. Sometimes in my streaming, it takes me getting really upset by something not working right to kind of push me out to trying something new. So hopefully be looking for some better sound tomorrow night. So it is smoky now. That is the one thing about medium darker roasts. It's much more smoky in here because what we're doing is we're starting to burn off the acid and we're starting to caramelize and almost burn the sugar. Whew! Smoky. Forgot my bean mitts here. Whoop! Alright, so my happy go. Again, what's he doing? I'm going to actually cool these out in an external cooler that I have. But so we'll compare this to the Ethiopian here in a minute, but much darker. Here's the robot voice you're all fearing of, but J Brogues, this is roast number 2. So Ratfink had resurfaced and we did his Super Bowl winnings. He bet the Bucks. He bet the chat the Bucks. So we are paying off our bet tonight. And we're also giving a preview to what I'll do for Awebb tomorrow night as well. The problem with the back-to-back roast is it gets really dirty, really chappy, and really smoky in here. So, although I do like a good roasting sesh, smoky for my taste. Nice, yeah. Old Jutes is pushed right at the old gills. Judy's getting the very rare double push, but she can handle it. We treat Jutes good. We wash Judy Judy a nice, good, thorough cleaning every 5 roasts. That keeps her young, keeps her fresh, keeps Jutes pumping out the good tasting beans. We'll let that go in the external cooler for about another minute. That will cut the vacuum sound, and my voice won't sound like a sci-fi movie anymore. So, this Ethiopian, this is the Costa Rican. Now notice Costa Rican is just a little bit darker. That is a medium. That would be a good fixed medium, and it's going to look a little lighter with the chaff in there. This is a good example of an Ethiopian light. Ethiopians tend to have a little bit more of a red hue to them. They also have the distinct yellow lines. As you can see, the Costa Ricans do not have those yellow lines. So there you have them. 2 very different roasts on 2 very different beans, both delicious. Woo! Chappy. Alright, there you go. So, Ethiopian light roast. This one's going to be going to Rat Pink 666 for the win. Costa Rican medium roast, also. So, both very good. And Awebb, as promised, yours will be done. Probably, if not on the next show, I'll just roast them for you tomorrow morning so I can drop those in the mail. But maybe, probably tomorrow night. Okay, so, good roasting session. We're able to get down here, roast a lot of beans, make up for what is now being referred to as the lost show from last night. We had some trouble with the microphone. But good news for all the bean heads out there. We have a new microphone coming. It should, well, I don't know anything about sound, so it'll probably sound bad until I figure it out. But it should inspire me to get a new bean. I mean, get better with the audio portion of the show. Can we see them side by side again? Certainly. So the shadow doesn't do justice, but this is the Costa Rican. This is the Ethiopian. How cold is it here? 10, 8. Like say a non-double-digit number, you might be right. But we are heading for Saturday. We're heading for -11 right now. So between a -11 and -15, which brings up what we're going to be doing on Saturday. So Saturday, as you guys, as the hardcore beanheads know, Saturday is what we call the kitchen show, where I tell you some different home brewing methods that I do to unlock some of the unique flavors of coffee. It's not that one brewing method is superior to another. It's that different brewing methods allow you to extract different flavors. So what we're going to do, because Awebb is the pun master, we're going to be doing cold night, cold brew. So I'm going to do a cold brew coffee in a very unique way and explain what cold brew coffee is. And then I'm going to do what is called iced coffee, which is iced coffee. But instead of taking coffee and pouring it over ice, I'm actually going to brew it over ice. So I've got 3 different types of coffee that I'm going to be showing you. So it should be kind of fun, especially if you're like me and have never done cold brew, and I've never drank iced coffee ever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to come up with something that I think is acceptable. Yeah, that is cold. Yeah, so imagine -11 iced coffee. Thanks for that, Awebb. That temperature sounds unacceptable. And yeah, it's just like the humidity in Houston. Like, you just got to learn to take the good with the bad. We are definitely living in the bad right now. But we have had a mild winter. So that is going to be the Saturday show. Also, tomorrow, I am going to still roast because I'm getting the new microphone in and I want to try that thing out. So we'll be doing a Brian Brogan roast and tech show. So if you want to see me get upset at some computer equipment, please come in tomorrow and hang out with us. We'll do a quick roast. One thing to note, I did do the Kenyan on Monday, so I will be giving the roasting notes of the Kenyan on Friday. So tomorrow I'm going to drink the Kenyan for you and let you know what I think. I've tasted some of the beans upstairs. I almost drank some this morning, but I was like, nope. I'm going to have my first impression be with the bean heads. So we'll try that out for you guys tomorrow. So hopefully it's good. I do like the idea of control with a... Should I get a Starbucks iced coffee for a control cup? Maybe. Is it good? Again, I've never had iced coffee, and I'm probably even going to put some cream in it just to make it the full iced coffee experience. So if you've got any opinions about iced coffee, let me know. Drop those in the chat, because, again, I have been a black hot coffee drinker since jump, and I'm excited, but we'll see. Humidity equals warm hug. Oof. No, that's the one thing I do not miss. EKF225. Control cup necessary. All right, fine. We'll get a control cup. Why not? You guys get what you want. So, good impromptu show. Good to have everyone out. We went way past what I thought the time marker would be. Ratfink, I don't know if you're still here, but if you rewatch this, I know Ratfink was in here a little bit earlier. Congratulations on your win. I'll get that dropped in. I'll also whisper you my my address so we can do a little coffee pen paling. So that's good. Awebb and EKF, yours should be coming very shortly. In fact, I'll probably roast that tomorrow. Get that out to you. So be looking for that in the mail pronto. Well, within a reasonable amount of time given my financial wherewithal. So, give the fans what they want, absolutely. See, that's why you're the producer, Jay Brogan, and I'm just the face. So there's our coffees, one more time, for all of your visual pleasure. Thank you for joining me on a impromptu Thursday night. And let's see. What else here? Glad the sound is better. And if you got time, I know Fridays are asking a lot, so not a big expectation for people on Friday, but got nothing to do tomorrow at 8:30. Check us out. We're here all the time. And as always, stay caffeinated. It's been great. Well, that's a perfect place to end it on. Thank you for that, Awebb. Stay caffeinated. I'll see you guys next time.